Well, yeah, I'm sick. We're gonna roll. I'm
Okay,
sick.
I was expecting you to talk around that, but you manned up.
I think
Like
not
sick of life or just sick?
just sick. The scumbags that rolled through, one of them got me sick. Did you watch it, or are you just winging it? With
Totally watched it. I'm taking my responsibilities seriously.
what was the killer's name?
This Marty.
Okay,
Come on, man. Give me a. I was, dude. You started asking a question, and I was like, "Oh crap, he's gonna get me here."
who are the Frog Brothers? Little Alice Cooper, Tim.
Is this the actual theme song?
This is what we use for 31 Days of Horror. We've always used.
Oh,
Alice.
I know that because I watch them all.
There you go. This is the actual thing. Sometimes we mix it up and we go with the other song, Friday 13th, Part 6, Animal, where they're riding around and he's got his head in the girl's crotch while they're in the Camaro.
Because he's an animal.
I'm sure you've seen it. My brains out.
We do need to establish that I'm only here because I don't like horror movies.
There you go.
I'm the only guy that's going to be on a horror movie podcast that doesn't like these movies going into them.
I guess now's a good time. We'll spend the first couple minutes explaining what the hell's going on. This is 31 Days of Horror. ATG and AT, we're going to give you guys 31 straight movie reviews, or attempt to. So it's normally me and Blake here. Blake has issues. Blake has other responsibilities he's got to deal with right now, so he can't be here. So we were forced to either cancel for the first time in 6 years or move on. Immediately, I go to Boz, who is the third ranking official when it comes to horror movies, and apparently he's joined a cheer squad and he's training for some kind of race. But he said he might help us out. Then you're left with Tandy, who will join us a few times over the course of the next 31 days. Then you have like outside people, other people you bring in as guests that know about horror movies. I really don't want to deal with that too much because I don't like having guests on without Blake.
Is the point you're making that I'm the bottom of the list? That's what you're getting at, right? That's the joke.
We have Tim, who is in the intro. Tim, who is the co-host of Macho Theater. Tim, who always steps in when you ask him. He doesn't say, I have this to do. He doesn't say, I have that to do. He never says no. He's always open to do a rundown, a movie review, a draft. The guy never says no.
Which is why you see me all the time.
The only problem with Tim is he's never seen a horror movie in his life.
But every single one of these that I'm on, it'll be the first time I've seen that movie.
So we'll be getting a new set of eyes on these movies each day that Tim reviews it, and we'll get to see what he thinks about it.
Someone who's never seen it that went into it knowing they would hate it. Nowhere else on the internet will you find that.
So that's the situation we're in right now. We could have canceled, but we're not going to cancel, and we'll see what kind of traction we get with these shows. We know everybody loves Blake. We love Blake, and hopefully he's back soon. He'll be back soon. He just could not get in here. And we may see some surprise appearances from Blake in these next 31 days. I really can't tell you for sure because this is episode 1. This is right. October the 1st.
No spoilers.
This is day 1. I don't know what's going to happen this month. It may just be me and Tim riding it out. And if that's the case, hang on, guys, because it's going to be a fun ride. Tim, day 1.
Right.
October the 1st. Slaughter High, 1986. You watched this for the first time, I know, either last night or sometime today. Without giving away anything, was it a waste of 90 minutes for you, or did you halfway enjoy it?
It's not a waste. Even though I don't like horror movies, I've done enough of these with you. Like, I get why you're into them. And as long as specific things happen, it's worth your time. And specific things happened, and it was totally worth my time.
So you'll have to tell me along the way what those specific things are.
Right.
Now, another thing we toyed with, the good, bad, and the ugly. That's mine and Blake's gimmick. Do we continue to do Good, Bad, and Ugly for the entire month of October without Blake? Or do me and Tim do just a random discussion about the movie? Decided we're going to do Good, Bad, and the Ugly. So me and Tim are going to do Good, Bad, and Ugly. Tim knows the format. It's not that complicated, and we'll see how it turns out. So before we get started, Tim, anything you want to say to the fans?
I'm sorry I'm not Blake. That's all I have to say. I apologize in advance, but hey, he'll be here when he gets here.
And this will be the first of 42 reviews that I say I'm sorry about my voice. Work has started. The voice is gone. I'm sorry. I've got the low, sexy, raspy thing going on.
And this is the last time I apologize for not being Blake.
Slaughter High. I remember this movie, Tim. We rented it at the video store probably when I was about 6 or 7 or 8 years old. The one thing I remember from this movie is there's a scene where a good guy lives. He turns the corner. He gets hit in the head with an axe and accidentally gets killed. We'll talk about that later. That's not a good guy. This movie is born out of bullying. The whole beginning of the movie is just the most insane type of bullying you will ever see. But sadly, it was normal in the 80s and the 90s.
Marty rules, and he carries the entire movie. Every scene he's in, I don't count when he's, lurking the hallways of the, class reunion he set up as him being in the scenes. That's different. In the beginning, like Marty's what makes it. Like the guy who played that part, he turned the S into an F with boss move. He got freaking naked he couldn't have been paid $500 for his role in this movie. I mean, give me a break. Like the dude's completely naked. And he's got all the charisma because all of the other actors, I get it. You're not supposed to like them, but it's rough. Outside of Marty at the beginning of the movie, there's not a lot of, likable stuff happening acting wise.
The bullying. You said Marty. I'm going to go with the bullying. This movie starts off with the main 6 to 8 characters, however many it is.
Yeah, only 10 people go to this high school.
Yeah, they have an elaborate plan set up where the chick, I think her name's Carol, all these people look 45 years old too, by the way.
I wondered why that was. And then you get to the whole, well, they have to be adults later in the movie. Because I was like, God, Carol looks 40. Like this is
she leads poor old Marty into one of many school shower houses with tubs and everything else that we'll talk about later. They strip him naked while she's promising him sex. She's promising him a little road edit. He goes into the shower. She turns the water on. While this is going on, everybody else in the entire school is sneaking in and setting up a Brazzers recording studio.
They're setting up a studio in this bathroom.
And like Tim said, when he walks out, you see nothing but man everywhere. He had no problem edit out there for everybody to see.
And the other actors are like picking him up naked and not like, they're grabbing him by the feet, but when they're doing the swirly, it's up close and personal.
Yeah, within the first 5 minutes of this movie, you see Marty's.
Yeah.
And
you saw, were your parents like watching you watch these movies, or y'all rent them and take them to your room, or what?
No, they were there.
Okay.
They probably thought at 5 or 6 years old I didn't know what was going on, but I remember there being a
right.
So
it would stick out at you.
The janitor, instead of bursting in like an adult, runs down to tell the coach, hey, there's something going on down there. The coach breaks it up. So not only did they give him a swirly, they were trying to rape him with a broom handle. Everybody's laughing. These are all horrible human beings. Nobody ever has a save the cat moment where they're like, okay, I admit we were wrong. No. So what happens then? They learn their lesson and move on. No, the coach tells them to stay after school. And Tim, I don't know if you know this or not, but most of this movie was filmed in England with them pretending to be in the U.S. All this was British actors, if you're wondering why they sounded so weird,
really?
trying to do American accents. Somebody didn't get the memo that high school kids don't stay to 4:45.
No.
Which is where the coach told them to come back. By 4:45, we've been at home 2 hours.
No.
They're pissed off that they've got to stay there. So instead of just letting it go. They plan another. They're going to just poison Marty now. They give him dope that's going to mess him up. Meanwhile, acid falls in Marty's face, burns him up, and he's sent off to the home of the deformed and the ugly.
It was like your basic superhero origin story where the lab blows up, but instead of turning into a superhero, he's deformed and insane.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the Toxic Avenger, except he wasn't wearing a tutu and he didn't jump out the window and land in the toxic waste.
Right.
Acid hit him in the face. So it fast forwards 10 years, and that's really the basis of the movie. The bullies are at a school reunion. Marty or somebody's wreaking habits.
Mm-hmm.
There is some classic bullying in this movie. We've got swirlies. We've got taking pictures of. We've got butthole. We've got broomstick to the given to Marty before he gets acid to the face.
And then the chemistry experiment that blew up. All right, that is not my good, but okay.
What do you got next?
My only good is Marty. Like I like Marty, and everything you just talked about, I hated.
Okay, well then I'll carry it on.
I'm sorry. I did put a note down. I was surprised at how much I was entertained by the deaths. They did a good job with your basic, you got to die one by one in some horrible way. Good deaths.
I like the first death right off the bat. You got the guy drinking the drink. First off,
best is good. Let's go ahead and talk about the best death, because that's probably going to be my only good. When Ted's gut explodes.
Yes.
Like that was out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, I get it. Chemistry, right? And dude, it was nasty. It was great.
My only question was, how did he get the acid into the beer without revealing that the beer had been opened?
I didn't want to bring that up because I thought maybe I'd missed something and you would say, well, I didn't watch the movie at all. But I just,
the biggest thing is when everybody gets to this school 10 years later and it's run down, it looks like nobody's been inside of it for a million years.
That was a heck of a 10 years.
Yeah. And then the janitor is still in there as a caretaker. That made zero sense.
When government property runs down, they're not paying a caretaker.
No, the grass has not been mowed. Nothing is taking place. This place still has running water. It still has a tub. I mean, right off the bat, when this dude drinks this beer and his stomach explodes out, guts everywhere, the girl that gets the blood all over goes and finds a bathtub to take a bath.
Explain that to me.
Why school has a bathtub? I have no
More so why there's a killer loose and she goes and strips down in an abandoned school to take a bath.
Well, they had to get her into a bathtub so they could do the acid gimmick with the water.
Was it just to have your horror movie nude scene?
Yes, you had to get her naked.
The only reason that she saw her boyfriend or husband stomach blew up and she walks around, finds a bath, and is like, yeah, looks good. Got to wash this blood off. Might as well strip down.
And of course, Marty's got it. He's got it figured out that the tub fills with acid.
After a good 30 minutes. They
find her later, just nothing but a skeleton in there. So a lot of these deaths were crazy because all these people are losers now. Even the one Carol, who's the actress, is supposedly she's like a Skinamax actor. At the very beginning of it, he's like, "Hey, if you give Peter North, I'll throw an extra $50 for you on this roll, baby." So they're all losers. They peaked in high school, and when they all get back together, they settle into their old routine of drinking and cutting up. And like the chick that immediately wants to cheat on her husband with this other guy, they go and people are dying. There's like been multiple people dead already, and they know
they're being hunted by the time they decide to go in a different room and screw.
Yeah, like her husband's going to stay and try to get a lawnmower cranked so they can bust the door down, which makes a lot of sense. And they go upstairs to these asylum beds and screw. Fun fact. That's why me and Blake say screw so much on this podcast, is when we did the audio podcast review of this.
Really?
We just started working.
Dude, that's like a years-long mystery. That's awesome. I got some ATG and AT lore going on.
A bunch of great kills. He turns the lawnmower on and drops it on that one guy. He hangs Skippy, which is the worst nickname for a guy that was supposedly cool in high school. That was a pretty cool death, and Skippy survives. And then Skippy takes an axe to the face. One chick just drowns in shit. I don't even understand what's going on. She gets thrown into the septic tank.
The hanging was lame. The person in the sewage was not a good death. The only deaths I put in the good column are Ted's stomach blowing up, the face melt in the bathtub, and the when that chick and her high school boyfriend are in that upper room, and he turns on the juice, and they both get electrified.
Yes, they start.
Skippy's like, oh, I guess you really needed it. Like, dude, people are dying, bro.
I guess now is a good time to talk about that. This movie was originally called April Fool's Day, but another April Fool's Day was released earlier in the year. So when a studio bought this movie, they changed it to Slaughter High. That's the reason you got the theme at the very beginning of it.
I was wondering why it didn't have that much to do with high school after the beginning. I mean, they came back, but I don't know. I was whatever.
Have you ever heard? It must be an English thing. We'll have to ask Darren. Have you ever heard the rule that all this took place on April Fool's Day at the beginning of the movie, and then the high school reunions taking place on April Fool's Day, and they're like, if we make it to noon tomorrow, it's over with. I thought April Fool's Day didn't end till the day was over.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all.
I wonder if that's a British thing. I don't know. Like I said, I'll have to ask Darren. But I mean, that was the big thing. Let's just make it to 12. Let's don't fall asleep. And then they're all asleep.
In England, it's like Christmas over after lunch.
That's a good point. His New Year's happened at noon. I don't know if you noticed it or not, but the Friday the 13th theme was used, or the Friday the 13th score from I believe Friday the 13th Part 5 was used a lot in this movie. So that's a good by association.
The opening of this movie took entirely too long. The theme song sucked. Like, if you're going to do a rock and roll high school theme song in the 80s, I mean, there were a million of them that aren't good, but at least they're catchy. I mean, right when the movie opens up, terrible theme song. And then it's like 20 minutes. I get it. You're going to take pictures of this dude in the bathroom who thinks he's about to make it with this beautiful girl that, he's like, oh, I can't believe that she's giving me a chance. But man, just go ahead and get it over with. Like, the setup to that took forever. They're walking, they're talking. You see the people with the camera equipment and all this stuff, and there's nothing funny that happens. There's nothing gory that happens at all. We haven't got to that part of the movie yet. It was like a huge waste of time. Waste of time.
It's like, really, the beginning of the movie was just to show a naked guy's butthole.
Yeah. Oh, when the bullying actually started, I was like, oh, well, you could have done this 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, here's the deal. Everybody that does pranks know that here's how this prank would have worked in a real high school. They would have yanked the curtain back, took a picture of his, and immediately everybody would have run out of there.
You get out of there as fast as possible. Probably shove him down.
Yeah, shove him down, run out of there. These people stuck around, not afraid of anything, afraid of any kind of adult to molest and rape him. It wasn't enough to take a picture of his junk that they could circulate or probably make a huge poster, but they were now going to sexually assault him as well.
Yeah, this got felonious super fast. They're all going to jail. Good thing dude got blew up.
Then when Marty comes back, this is Marty Patrol. He's got his little Letterman jacket on. He's got super strength all of a sudden, Tim. Why did he kill that poor janitor?
Well, I don't know. Here's the janitor kill was maybe he was like, I don't know. They had to add that in the movie. I honestly got the impression that this movie was something else before it turned into what it was. I assumed that when he was in this chemical blast, it happened to the Flash. He got super speed. That it changed it. So now he has super strength. He's insane. And you know how crazy people are just strong anyway. I just thought it was part of his transformation from Marty the geeky loser to Marty the serial killer.
I thought it had like a supernatural element at this point that maybe Marty died But these guys all had like a happy story about Marty, that he had skin grafts, blah, 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 and he moved on with his life. But I was like, maybe Marty died and this is his ghost that's patrolling here. And that later, that happened later on. We'll talk about that here in a second. I don't understand. I guess every bad guy in the mid 80s needed super strength like Jason and Freddy.
Well, is there a supernatural element to this movie? Go ahead and talk about it. Because when at the end of the movie kind of lost me a little bit, I'm like, oh crap. He's not a specter. He's not a ghost back from the dead. He's just a deranged lunatic they blew up, but he survived. See, I thought the movie was going to be, they thought he was dead.
Okay.
But he comes back and get him. But they're like, no, he survived. He went somewhere. But then at the end, the ghosts are coming up.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, it was just a dream. At the end of the movie, tell me this. Is it all a dream?
That's what I wanted to discuss.
Is it all a dream, or are we watching the before?
Okay, so great question. This movie ends with Marty winning. Mm-hmm. He kills everybody. And then all of them are back as ghosts. And they're coming at him, and his face looks normal.
Did you ever think for a second it was the coach?
No, I never thought it was anybody but Marty.
I did for a second, but anyway.
Because there was pictures of Marty. Well, that would have been a better ending. You find out that Marty was the coach's love child.
Because that's why he's strong and stuff, and then Marty would be the perfect scapegoat, like he's trying to get revenge for him. Anyway, all right, so yeah.
Yeah, so everybody's back after being killed, and they're ghosts coming after Marty, and then Marty wakes up with his face bandaged in a hospital. So the main question I have for the ending of this movie, is this the first time Marty has woken up since he got hit with the acid? Did he get hit with the acid like a day before? Is he still in high school? Or are we supposed to believe that Marty's face has been bandaged for 10 years?
Dude, that's a great question. It's brand new. This is like a week later.
I took it as Marty is freshly in the hospital. The prank has just happened. While he's been out on the meds, he's been having a dream about how he's going to get all these people back, which is why the end of the dream, the ghosts are coming back at him. It's a big nightmare for him. So all these people are still in high school. It's never been 10 years, into the future.
So it's not the prequel to the actual killing. Because I didn't think about that. I took it as this is what happened right before he went out and invited everybody to the high school and got him. But no, that doesn't make any sense. Dude, that doctor took it right in the eye.
Yeah, Marty dresses up like a nurse.
That switcheroo was amazing, by the way, how he did that.
And the whole movie ends with the theme song playing as he pulls his skin graft off of his face. So, I mean, we're left wondering, one, what the hell did we just watch? Two, why the hell did we watch it? And three, is there going to be a Slaughter High 2?
Is there a Slaughter High 2?
Sadly, the guy that played Marty, Simon Scudamore, committed suicide shortly after this movie was finished filming. So he had a lot of problems. He had a lot of mental problems, but
that's terrible.
His family came out and assured everyone, showing his in this movie is not what made him commit suicide, that he had the most fun in his life filming this movie and he just fell into depression. He knew nothing was going to get better than filming.
Well, at least he got to have fun being Marty.
Yeah. And I only hope that they played this right here at his funeral.
Probably did.
So that's day one in the books. Me and Tim trying to get a rhythm together. We love you, Blake. Guys, leave it in the comments. What was your good, bad, and the ugly from Slaughter High? What do you agree and disagree with? How bad is Tim?
How can I be more like Blake? Tell me that. How can I be more like Blake?
How much do you miss Blake? And tell us your overall thoughts on Slaughter High. I guess now would be a great time to say, for the show that we had introducing 31 Days of Horror and all the movies we're going to watch, since Blake is no longer going to be here for the full 31 days, I have changed the 31 days lineup. So I don't know what else to say. There's going to be different movies every day.
So be prepared.
Yeah, just be prepared for anything. For Tim, I'm Ronnie saying, we miss you, Blake.